Football season is the most fun time of the year, especially when your fantasy football team is great. And in today's video, I'm going to help you guys build the best fantasy team possible, giving you guys 7 players that I believe are going to dominate in 2025 fantasy football. But before we get on into today's video, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you don't have been enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. We begin with the first player set to dominate in 2025 fantasy football, and that is going to be Kyle Pitts. Obviously, I'm just kidding. We are not going to be talking about Kyle Pitts in today's video, and hopefully people didn't end up clicking off. We're going to be talking about his teammate, Drizzy Drake London, wide receiver of the Atlanta Falcons. Current ADP from ESPN Sleeper, NFL, and CBS Sports have him as the wide receiver 10 at pick 21, meaning he is the 9th pick inside of the second round in a 12-team league. Last season, Drake London was the wide receiver 5 in PPR and the wide receiver number 14 in PPR points per game. He played in 17 games last season with 157 targets, 3rd at the wide receiver position, 9.2 per game, 100 receptions, 7th, 5.9 per game, 1,271 receiving yards, 4th at wide receiver, 74.8 per game, and 9 total touchdowns, 9th at the wide receiver position. Now, the reason why I like Drake London so much in 2025 is because of how the offense operated down the stretch of last season with Michael Penix Jr. under center. Highlighted on your screen are going to be the final 3 games of the season where Michael Penix was the starting quarterback for the team. In those games, week 16, Drake London had 8 targets. Week 17, he had 13 targets, and week 18, up against the Carolina Panthers, the man had 18 total targets, scoring 40.7 fantasy points. Now, obviously, it would be absolutely ludicrous to assume that he was going to put up 18 targets in probably any game this season, but I do believe that he could be averaging 10 plus targets per game in this Atlanta Falcons offense because him and Michael Penix Jr. clearly have great chemistry, and Michael Penix Jr. clearly trusts him. Drake London in week 16 through 18 with Penix as the quarterback, he had 39 targets, 1st in the NFL from week 16 through 18, 352 yards, 1st, and 19.4 half PPR points per game, 1st at the wide receiver position. I really do believe that Drake London has always had the talent to be that guy in the NFL, to be that guy in fantasy that takes your team over the top. But ultimately, quarterback play as well as the coaching kind of ended up holding him down. But now, with a new quarterback in Michael Penix Jr., who's going to be forcing him the ball game in and game out, and a new coaching staff after they got rid of that complete and utter dumbass Arthur Smith at the end of the 2023 season, I really do believe that now is the time for Drake London to show out. He has always had the ability. Again, it was just the team around him that was letting him down. In terms of efficiency last year, he was 10th in yards per route run, 23rd in target accuracy, which I expect to get better with a full season of Michael Penix Jr. And even if the targets aren't the most accurate, Drake London's the kind of guy that's like Stretch Armstrong. He'll reach his hand out there and it'll stretch and he'll be able to catch it like Mrs. Incredible. 5th in terms of expected points added and 12th in fantasy points per route run. Do I think the Atlanta Falcons have one of the best offenses in the NFL? The answer to that would be a resounding fuck no, baby. But all that matters is that the guy is going to get fed, and I do believe that the offense will be better. So Drake London, to me, seems like an absolute steal at the end of the second round. I think there's a strong argument to be made that he should be going at the beginning of the second round. Most underdog fantasy drafts that I do, these paid drafts, you are seeing Drake London go at the beginning of the second round. So the fact you can get him close to the end of the second round in your home league, you need to be drafting him every single time. Again, the upside is incredibly high with Michael Penix Jr. At number 2, we got Kyren Williams, running back of the LA Rams, current ADP running back 11 at pick number 24, the 2.12. Recently, on August 5th, Kyren Williams agreed to a 3-year, $33 million extension with the Los Angeles Rams. So despite the fact that basically every single person on earth is trying to talk about the downfall of Kyren Williams, how Kyren Williams can't possibly score 1 million touchdowns again, the team continues to believe in him, and they do that by taking out their wallet and writing a big check for Mr. Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams, over the past 2 years, 2,443 rushing yards, third at running back. 26 rushing touchdowns, tied for second. 1,622 yards after contact, third. And 146 first down rushes, second. According to PFF on Twitter, a well-deserved payday. Back-to-back seasons averaging over 17 plus PPR points per game, running back 10 in points per game last season, running back 2 in points per game in 2023. Again, the only reason why people continue to hate on Kyren Williams is because the guy simply can't score 15 plus touchdowns again. It's kind of like Derrick Henry. He can't possibly hold up and do it again. Saquon Barkley can't possibly go to the Philadelphia Eagles with one of the best offensive lines last season and put belt to ass, right? Sometimes in the NFL, history repeats itself. Kyren Williams continues to have a 5-star, the Tipton from Zach and Cody hotel inside of the end zone. The guy lives in the end zone. 16 games played last year, 16 total touchdowns. So the motherfucker averaged a touchdown every single game. 2023, 12 games played, 15 touchdowns, over 1 touchdown per game. But now that they paid him, and now that it's another year, it's magically going to fall off. I don't think so. Sure, they have other running backs behind Kyren Williams. They drafted Jarquez Hunter, they have Blake Corum, and they have a guy named Ronnie Rivers as well. But Kyren Williams is still the guy in this backfield. He is the clear bell cow back, and the money that they just paid him, they backed up the Brinks truck for him, tells you that they want him to be the lead back. Last year, 16 games played. He was third in carries with 316, averaging close to 20 carries per game. 1,299 rushing yards. 7th at running back, 81.2 per game. Sure, is Kyren Williams this elite pass-catching running back? No. Is he a terrible pass-catching running back? Also, no. He can catch passes out of the backfield, but you're not going to see him get a boatload of dump-offs like a guy like Devon Achane, like prime Austin Eckler, right? You're not going to end up seeing that, or Christian McCaffrey, out of a guy like Kyren Williams. 40 targets, 2.5 per game, 31st. 34 receptions, 2.1 per game, 30th. 182 receiving yards, 11.4 per game, 39th. And 16 total touchdowns, 4th at the running back position. Now, another problem with Kyren Williams is that the guy has a big case of fumbleitis. He fumbles the ball a lot. Since 2023, 4 players were tied with the most fumbles by running back with 8. That would be Austin Eckler, Ramondre Stevenson, Kyren Williams, and another guy who, for some reason, when I looked up the stats, it wouldn't tell me over on Draft Muse or whatever the hell that website is called. So, again, he fumbles, but this team still trusts him. It doesn't matter that he fumbles. Sean McVay loves to pound the rock with Kyren Williams. It's almost like Kyren Williams has some blackmail on him or something, because even if he fumbles and even when he looks kind of slow, like he's running like he's stuck in quicksand, it doesn't matter because the team forces him the rock. He was 37th in true yards per carry last season with 4.0, but he was first in dominator rating. The motherfucker played 88.4% of the snaps last season for the LA Rams, first at running back. He ranked second in opportunity share, 5th in weighted opportunities, again, 3rd in carries, 1st in red zone touches, 12 goal line carries, 77 total red zone touches. Again, say what you want about how great Kyren Williams is. I get it. Do I think that Kyren Williams is one of the best running backs in the NFL? That would be a resounding fuck no, baby. But ultimately, the team wants him to be that guy. They want him to be the bell cow back. So why would we panic based upon what we've seen over the last 2 seasons? I still love Kyren in fantasy. Told you to draft him last year. I'm going to tell you the exact same thing again. At number 3, we've got Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, ADP quarterback 4 at pick 32, going at the 3.8, close to the middle of the 3rd round. Quarterback 3 last season, quarterback 3 in points per game. In every single one of his seasons where he played 16 plus games, he was a top 10 quarterback in points per game. Quarterback 3 last season. In 2022, he was the quarterback 4 in points per game. In 2021, quarterback number 10. And a lot of people will say, Nick, it is impossible for the Cincinnati Bengals to throw the ball that many times again. It's impossible for Joe Burrow to throw the ball 38.4 times per game. First at the quarterback position, 652 passing attempts. It's impossible for the motherfucker to throw almost 5,000 passing yards, 4,918 first at quarterback, 289.3 per game. 43 passing touchdowns at a 6.6% rate, first at quarterback, 9 interceptions. He was 22nd in carries, 42 carries, 201 rushing yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Nick, the Cincinnati Bengals can't possibly throw the ball that much again, year in and year out. Something is going to change. They have Chase Brown. They have a competent running back with Joe Burrow. They can't throw the ball that many times. You want to know why they can throw the ball that many times? Because their defense sucks cock. Their defense is absolutely atrocious year in and year out. And if you look at the depth chart, spoiler alert, it's not much better. We saw that in that preseason action week 1, Nick, it's just preseason, the Philadelphia Eagles backups, Tanner McKee, put belt to ass against the starting Bengals defense. Imagine what a real imagine what Lamar Jackson is going to do to that defense. It should be illegal what he is going to do. The Bengals last season were second in team pass play percentage with 64.81% of the time they threw the ball. Nick, they can't possibly do that again. 2023, 63.45% of the time they passed the ball. Again, if the defense is that dreadful, which it's going to be, they're going to have to continue to throw the ball, and Joe Burrow is going to continue to put up a crazy amount of passing stats. Again, 6.6% passing rate for touchdowns, probably going to dip, right? Closer to the 5% mark makes more sense. But that's for a normal quarterback, right? Would anyone be surprised if a guy like Joe Burrow, 6.6% of the time, again, he throws a pass, it's a touchdown? I wouldn't be when you have Jamar Chase, when you have T.E. Higgins, when you have Mike Licky Amagasicki, Chase Brown, and now Noah Fant. The weapons core there is elite. It's like all he has to do is spin the mystery box, and he's got a ray gun, right? And, he spins the box, and somehow he gets a pack-a-punched fucking RPD, right? Joe Burrow has all of the weapons around him to succeed, and he is going to do it yet again. In terms of efficiency, 3rd in true passer rating, 1st in QBR, 1st in expected points added, 6th in red zone accuracy rating. The guy is phenomenal year in and year out. I get that we love rushing quarterbacks in fantasy football, and that is true, right? I would love if Joe Burrow was going to run out there, juke a guy out of his shoes, make him look silly like a clown, honk honk, like the dude in It chilling in the sewer with the Ninja Turtles. I absolutely love Mr. Joe Burrow this season. I think the efficiency is going to keep up. I think he is going to dominate 50 Shades of Grey style in 2025. Next up, we move to James Conner, running back of the Arizona Cardinals. Current ADP running back 19 at pick 46. Currently coming off the board as the 10th pick inside of the 4th round. But before we keep on breaking down the 7 players set to dominate in 2025 fantasy football, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends, our partner over at Underdog. If you're brand new to Underdog and sign up using the link in the video description, you will receive a free pick plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash, as well as my draft guide for completely free as long as you do a $10 deposit and play with the money that you deposit. The reason why I love Underdog so much is because it is best ball fantasy football. If you don't know what best ball is, it's the draft, and that's it. There's no waivers, no trades, no in-season management. Underdog automatically puts the highest scores into your lineup at the end of the week, so you get all the fun of drafting, and you don't have to worry about doing waivers for 30 hours in a row on a Tuesday. So make sure you guys do check that out. Promo code Notorious. Their biggest tournament, $15 million in total prizes, $2 million to first place, $25 to enter over on Underdog Best Ball Mania. They also have smaller contests with smaller entry fees as well, so make sure you guys do check that out. And if you want my draft guide in general, you don't want to sign up for Underdog, it is $12.50. Link in the video description for my full PPR and my half PPR rankings, and they're getting updated all of the time. Back in here with James Conner, running back of the Arizona Cardinals, running back 11 in PPR last season, running back 15 in PPR points per game, 4 straight seasons with 15 plus PPR points per game. I've said it before, I'll say it again, death taxes James Conner 15 plus PPR points per game. When this guy is healthy, he is going to be as reliable as it gets. He just continues to be a very, very safe bet that always pays off at ADP. I get James Conner's another year older, and once you start talking about James Conner, people say he's too old. Frankly, to me, it does not matter. I get there is definitely some injury risk with James Conner, right? This guy is not necessarily the most healthy man for fantasy football ever. He'll probably miss a game or two or maybe three, but when he is healthy, he is the bell cow back in this offense. We saw that earlier on in the offseason process. James Conner is in for another big workload. Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon said running back James Conner is getting himself ready to carry the load for us. Pause. And then a more recent report from July 28th last year. You said James Conner would be your workhorse back with Trey Benson's growth. Do you still feel that is James' role? The coach responds, absolutely. The Cardinals are being very clear and consistent about this. I know there was a report out of James Conner where he's talking about how him and Trey Benson could be the 1A, 1B of this offense, but the coaching staff continues to give the more metaphorical gawk 9,000 special to James Conner being the lead back on this team. So why would that change? A tweet from Ron Stewart. James Conner over the last 3 seasons, 2022 to 2024, weeks 1 through 9, 22 games, 12.6 points per game. Week 10 plus 20 games, 18.6 points per game. This dude is like Derrick Henry light. As the season goes on, James Conner gets stronger. His power level increases. Do I think the Cardinals are going to be one of the best teams in the NFL? Of course not, but I do think they will be better than last season. And James Conner produced last year on a not so hot Arizona Cardinals team. This is a guy that had 6 top 12 games last season and 8 of 16 games with over 16 PPR points. He was 14th in carries, 11th in rushing yards, 11th in targets, 10th in receptions, 6th in receiving yards, and 14th in total touchdowns. And Unk still got it. 20th in true yards per carry, 11th in yards per touch, 1st in juke rate, 5th in explosive rating, and 6th in yards created per touch. So anyone that's panicking about James Conner because of this Trey Benson stuff, push it to the side. James Conner is still that guy. At number 5, we go from Unk to a youngin', Tetora McMillan, wide receiver of the Carolina Panthers. Tet McMillan, T-Mac, wide receiver 30 off the board at pick 70, the 10th pick inside of the 6th round. Now, in the first game of preseason action, he went 2 of 5 for 43 yards. He showed off, in my opinion, great contested catch ability, and to me, kind of looks like a guy we already talked about, Drake London. Now, he did drop a touchdown where he got open on 2nd and 6 on the goal line, but since he did end up getting open and he turned his head around quickly and he was ready to catch the ball, I'm not going to panic off of a miscue during a preseason week 1 game, his first ever quote-unquote game in the NFL, a game in which Bryce Young looked absolutely dialed in. Bryce Young, down the stretch of last season, looked very, very good. So if he continues to build on that, and Tet McMillan is the clear wide receiver 1, then this could be a huge season for the rookie. Last year at Arizona in 2025, he comes out of the draft as the 8th overall pick, 12 games played in 2024 as a 21-year-old, 84 receptions for 1,300 yards, 1,319 yards, and 8 touchdowns. 2023 season, he had 90 receptions for 1,402 yards and 10 touchdowns. So he ended up having back-to-back big seasons at Arizona. In terms of his reception perception profile, something I like to look at for wide receivers from Matt Harmon, 70.4% success rate versus man coverage, 81% success rate versus zone, and 73.1% success rate versus press, 80th percentile. And we're just going to do some digging into the Panthers towards the end of last season. Bryce Young, weeks 12 through 18. Again, I mentioned the guy was dialed. He was absolutely locked in. He had the 7th most passing attempts, and he was a top 6 fantasy quarterback. All 3 college years for Tet McMillan, 8+ touchdowns, 15+ yards per catch. And last year, Bryce Young had Adam Thielen looking like he hopped in the fucking DeLorean and went back to a couple of years ago in Minnesota because he put up some big games. Week 13 up against the Bucks, Adam Thielen Wide receiver 6, then wide receiver 17 the next week up against Cooper DeJean, who is not a safety. Up against the Arizona Cardinals, week 16, wide receiver 21. Week 17 up against the Bucks, wide receiver number 8. So it's very clear that the wide receiver 1 in Carolina has big value, and I believe Ted McMillan is exactly that. He perfectly fits that bill. Next up, we move to Tyrone Tracy, running back of the New York Football Giants. ADP running back 30 at pick 89, the 5th pick inside of the 8th round. ESPN's Jordan Rannon on Tyrone Tracy versus Cam Skattebo. It's 100% Tyrone Tracy. Skattebo hadn't even received a ton of first team's rep when he was healthy. Don't think there's really any competition, and he's not healthy now. Tracy is going to get the majority of carries. I understand there's a lot of Skattebo truthers, and rightfully so. He did look good in college. He runs angry like a muscle hamster. Shout out to Doug Martin. But Tyrone Tracy is still the lead back on this team. Last season, we saw a couple of really high ceiling games out of Tracy. Week 6 up against the Bengals, running back 5. Week 8 up against the Steelers, running back 7. And week 14 up against the Saints, running back 11. I know not every game was the highest of highs for Tyrone Tracy, but the guy was relatively consistent when he was seeing 55+% of the snaps. He was the RB21, averaging 13.5 PPR points per game, and now, even with Cam Skattebo banged up, he's coming off the board as the running back 30 on an offense that should be better. I don't really love Russell Wilson. I don't necessarily love Jackson Dart for his rookie year, or famous Jameis Eat a W Winston. But ultimately, the quarterback play will be significantly better than what we saw last season. Now, this is a report from a couple of days ago, so you can take it with a bit of a grain of salt because we don't have all of the training camp notes here, but from August 3rd through 9 training camp practices, catchable passes or catches from Russell Wilson. Malik Neighbors had 22, 6 touchdowns on 121 attempts. Tyrone Tracy ranked 2nd. He ranked ahead of Theo Johnson, starting tight end. He ranked ahead of Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson. So we clearly know Russell Wilson feels very comfortable dumping the ball off to Tyrone Tracy, who was the running back 34 in points per game last year. Again, none of his statistics necessarily jump off the page, but he was a solid pass catcher, 53 targets, 38 receptions, 284 receiving yards. So going forward with this Giants offense, with Cam Skattebo kind of on the back burner, it's just pretty clear that Tyrone Tracy is a great value in drafts with pretty big upside game in and game out, especially if the Giants are able to be just slightly better than what we saw last season. Final guy here is Tyler Warren, tight end of the Indianapolis Colts. ADP tight end number 10 at pick 109, the 9.1, 2024 at Penn State. 16 games played with 104 receptions on 137 targets for 1,233 yards, 11.9 yards per reception, and 8 receiving touchdowns. This motherfucker put up over 1,200 yards as a tight end in college. Now, again, I don't want to just say that preseason is, if you play really well in preseason, you're going to be great, right? Ask Dorian Thompson-Robinson about that. Ask DeShone Kizer how that works, right? Just because you're great in preseason doesn't mean you're going to have a great fucking NFL career, but he did look great. He was eating defenders for breakfast, and he was spitting them out. Tyler Warren in his NFL debut, 20 of 20 snaps, 100%. 3 of 12 targets, 25% target share, not including a 4th reception that was called back due to a penalty. Tyler Warren in 1 quarter, 3 targets, 3 catches, 40 yards, 13.3 yards per catch on average. Now, I get, Nick, I don't really want to invest in the Indianapolis Colts offense because I think Anthony Richardson is awful. I think Daniel Jones is awful, and I get that. But to me, Tyler Warren just feels like Brock Bowers from last year, right? Oh, we don't want to draft Brock Bowers because he's on the Raiders. We don't want to draft Brock Bowers because I don't trust the quarterback position in Viva Las Vegas, right? So I don't want to draft Brock Bowers. It's the same exact thing with Tyler Warren. These are incredibly talented tight ends that proved it in college, and I believe that it is going to translate perfectly to the NFL. During OTAs, there were a lot of reports that Tyler Warren was not just a focus in this offense, that he was the focal point of this offense. And we really saw that in the preseason action. So I get, sure, he's a rookie tight end, and that's a tough pill to swallow because typically, on average, rookie tight ends aren't phenomenal. But it feels like now, as we have gotten closer through the 2020s, like Kyle Pitts, I know Kyle Pitts hasn't been great. He was good his rookie year in fantasy. Brock Bowers last year. So it feels like the paradigm shift is shifting towards tight ends being a lot better as they are younger. So Tyler Ward, again, there's definitely risk investing with the Indianapolis Colts, but the guy has all of the ability to do so. And again, if you're on the field a lot, you are going to get targets, and that's exactly how Tyler Warren is going to benefit in this Indianapolis Colts offense. So I absolutely love Tyler Warren right now as the tight end number 10. So thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Like it owes you some money. Leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. Make sure you guys do check out Underdog, promo code Notorious to get your free pick. Get the draft guide as well as a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Check out the Patreon. Link in the video description if you want to get the draft guide that way. Check out one of the videos on your screen if you haven't seen them already. I love you long time. Have a great one. And as always, good boy.